Alright, here's another video. I want to go over what anarcho-capitalism would look like. Um, Basically, because saying anarcho-capitalism, oh, just no government, it's just kind of vague, to be honest, so, just testing to see if my camera's made properly. I'm gonna have to go over some things about how it would look as opposed to statism. Well, for starters, you wouldn't be forced to go to school. There would be no public school. There'd just be private education, like academies, private schools, homeschooling, online schooling. There'd just be that, pretty much, and maybe or charter schools. So you no longer have to worry about a truancy officer breathing on your neck for not going to school because such a thing isn't a crime anymore because, what would make it a crime, which is government, no longer exists. So, yeah. You can breathe a sigh of relief if you skip school for whatever reason. And the only consequences you have for skipping school is like circumstantial consequence, like, oh, you failed class, or you have to repeat it, or you get a 0 on assignment, or a lower grade on assignment, or have to repeat a grade, whatever. That it's not legal. You don't get any legal trouble for skipping school. Okay, next thing I could go over is war and drugs. That shit no longer exists. So you can do whatever drugs you want. Pot, heroin, meth, cocaine, crack, ecstasy, whatever. You can do whatever you want. You won't get in trouble for it because hey, drugs are legal. Just no government to ban them. What else? Okay, let's get to one of the most important ones. Guns. There'd be no more assault weapons bans. No more Hughes ban, no more full auto bans because, well, there's no government to ban weapons anymore. Own what you want. Even destructive devices like howitzers and mortars and missile launchers, you can own it. I figure you can even own nukes. Though I doubt nukes would be that popular because there isn't much of a market for them because very few people want nukes, whether legal or not. So, yeah. I guess you can make one of your own, but that'd be kind of hard. But anyways, you can own whatever weapon you want. Federal background checks will no longer be mandatory since, well, there's no federal government at all since, well, there's no government, period. I guess if a gun company wanted to run private background checks, they could, but as for public ones, they no longer exist, so... And you can only own whatever gun you want, weapon you want, period, whatever. There's that. Eminent domain, you no longer have to worry about your property being taken over by your government and given to some corporation, some such corporation. Because, well, there's no government anymore to make that happen. So, property rights, good. Crime? I'd say that'd be very low because now you no longer have any government to make policies which empower crime. Gun control empowers crime. Excuse me. War and drugs empowers crime. Any anti-self-defense law empowers crime, like duty to retreat. You have to retreat in your home when a dangerous home invader breaks in, or home invader period. That's bullshit. Let's get rid of that. Having to fight tooth and nail to prove you're innocent in a self-defense situation would empowers crime, and that would no longer exist either, since if someone attacks you, in a really unjust way, you get to get rid of them, period. If someone tries to kill you, you get to get rid of them. If someone tries to rape you, you get to get rid of them. Like, if someone even just wants to give you, like, a super-duper beating, you can get rid of them. Because it's self-defense, and you won't have to, like, fight tooth and nail to prove it, like a public court, because public courts no longer exist, and as for private courts, those can exist, but imagine private courts won't make you fight tooth and nail to prove you're innocent and justify self-defense situation, because that would be bad. That would look bad in the court. They could get fired, be hired by another private court. And that's just a moral period. Victims shouldn't have to stress. They're already stressed out enough for having to get into this whole altercation in the first place, the criminal forced upon them. They shouldn't have to fight tooth and nail to prove they're innocent if they're innocent. What do you know? So there'd be no more of that. Police brutality I expect would be very low, like way lower than it is, whatever that rate may be, because police wouldn't be public anymore; they'd be privatized. You had private police groups. You'd have competition for to be the best, most just police group. I don't think you'd have any bullshit like with, you wouldn't have bullshit with like the war on drugs or gun control or victimless crimes like consenting prostitution, consenting adults. You wouldn't have that since, well, no more government to ban all that stuff pointlessly. Oh yeah, that brings me to the subject of prostitution. As long as it's consenting adults, there's no problem. Okay, there's no problem. They're consenting adults. They're both adults. They're consenting, or they're consenting. They're both adults. Whatever. Because it's stupid that in places like the U.S. prostitution is only legal in some parts in Nevada. Some parts. It's not even legal in the whole state. It's just some counties. Which is ridiculous because it should be legal everywhere since it's between consenting adults. Duh. You no longer have to worry about being pulled over for either being a prostitute or a customer of a prostitute because, well, it's voluntary, it's legal, No government to ban that. What else? 6, I think, or 7? I lost count. I just said 7. Social Security, 7, it would be privatized. I mean, yeah, because there's no government to wrap you in this Ponzi scheme called Social Security. I think I could go into more about how it's a Ponzi scheme later. I don't think. I mean, it'd be privatized, so you wouldn't be forced into Social Security. No government to make you do this shitty policy, which is always short on funds, as well as very bureaucratic. So you'd have privatized, retirement companies if you want to, so if you want to do your retirement that way, you can manage it with them. If you just want to manage it purely yourself, you can do that. I mean, why rope someone into a system they do not consent to? They not only do not consent to, but it doesn't work for everyone in the first place. So, no more Social Security. It'd just be like security, or private retirement, whatever. What's number 8? You'd have no more corporatism, so, because there's no more government, so you wouldn't have to buy a car from a fucking dealership because, well, so they could buy it from whoever. No dealership laws. You wouldn't have eminent domain. I already mentioned that one, but you also wouldn't have lobbying, subsidies, bailouts, eminent domain, campaign funding. Because guess what? There's no more freaking government for that shit to exist. All you'd have is big companies. You wouldn't have corporations, just have big companies because they no longer have a government to buy a corporate license from. Okay, what else? I don't think you'd have a patent system anymore because, number 9, because there's no more government to make it so only people with the patents can sell the thing, even if someone else happens to come up with their own design for the thing to sell it. Say someone comes up with their own car, well, you wouldn't have to worry about any patents on any of the parts for making that car, because if you just, came up with yourself, or, you can just sell it, It's not like you stole the blueprints of someone else who made a car. Okay, what else? Number 10. War, I think that'd be a thing of the past, because there's no more fucking governments. Pardon my language. Might be a bit repetitive. There's no more governments to make freaking war. This whole Iraq campaign, or this Afghanistan campaign, or this Syria shit, or this Ukraine shit. That wouldn't exist anymore because there's no governments to be political and try to kill a whole bunch of people and put the rest in submission. That doesn't exist anymore. So no more war means no more military-industrial complex either. Okay, what else? Okay, well, those are like 10 things I can think off the top of my head. I mean, if you want to get into more like, getting rid of the FDA or the USDA, Food and Drug Administration and U.S. Department of Agriculture, replace them with like privatized agencies that watch over your food, make sure it's safe and all that jazz. You can have that too. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to buy car insurance, you can do that. That's a choice. Healthcare, that's a choice too. What else? You'd have no more tariffs, so if you want to just import some foreign goods, you're well on your own to do that. So yeah, no more border wall either. You wouldn't have a border wall. You wouldn't have like border policy. If people just want to cross into open territory, they can do that as long as they're not trespassing on private territory, private property. That's fine. But open territory and nobody really owns land, that's fine. None of this ICE or Border Patrol bullshit, whatever, that's gone. More politics behind those evil immigrants. So, okay, so let me just move on to another thing, real quick. Us ANCAPs, we're not calling for a utopia. Utopia is impossible to just have a perfect society. Because to have a perfect society, you need perfect individuals, and there's no such thing as perfect individuals. So you don't have a perfect society. What we ANCAPs are asking for is a free society, or even an optimal society. Maybe an optimal-topia, or whatever. Just society that's free, voluntary. Only the bad people that harm other people suffer, and the innocent, good people, they're fine. Because they're innocent. What more reason do you need? So that's what we're asking for. A society with as little strife or turmoil or bullshit violence or injustice possible, because we got rid of the state. And getting rid of the state thugs only leaves you with the street thugs, like the cartel or whatever. But there wouldn't be much of a cartel anymore since the war on drugs is done for. And the cartel makes most of their money from that. As for street thugs like robbers and rapists and kidnappers and assaulters and whatnot, those people would be greatly reduced in number, because you're allowed to kick their ass or even kill their ass, and deadly force justified self-defense. Government's the source of most of the problems in the world, so if you get rid of that, you get rid of most of the problems, and the rest are easier to deal with. This government made them pretty hard to deal with, but now it's gone. At least when Anarcho-Capitalism happens, so you don't have to worry about that. So, I hope Anarcho-Capitalism happens as soon as possible. In fact, I hope it happens within my lifetime, because I don't want to die before it happens. Hope I didn't just jinx myself. But anyways, that's basically what I have to say is, anarcho-capitalism, it isn't utopia, it isn't unrealistic, it isn't chaos. It's just freedom, safety, justice, and prosperity all rolled into one. That's all it is. It's got imperfections. Like, there can still be bad people, and, there can still be bad businesses, like businesses that offer shitty service and shitty products, but those can be mitigated easily, and with the free market, and, as well as self-defense, and, it'd be free. Other than the flaws, it'd be optimal. It'd be pretty damn good, I gotta say. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.